Tetris is an indie puzzle game first published by Bungus Interactive on Steam Greenlight back in 2013. It was conceived by the head programmer over at Bungus, Terry Tetris, who is from Tetristown, Texas. That's all the Wikipedia says about him. It's a pretty weird game, I gotta admit. You just watch these blocks fall, and after about 15 seconds, they hit the top of the screen and you lose. I haven't figured out what it wants me to do yet, but after this video goes up, I might consider looking more into it to improve my gameplay. The story of how this game came to be is quite an interesting one. It begins in 2005 when Mr. Tetris discovered that his wife of 9 years had been cheating on him. Overwrought with emotion, he turned to a personal favorite hobby of mine, alcoholism. A big part of 2006 for Terry was spending night after night throwing shot after shot of hard liquor into his gullet and crying like the stupid little bitch he is. After months of this abuse to his liver, Terry realized that if he didn't find a better way to cope with his loss, it would kill him. So he switched from cheap liquor to absolute vodka and continued giving his internal organs the equivalent of Victorian-era torture. This was well and good for a few years, but slowly yet surely the pain started returning, so he resorted to heroin addiction. His heroin dealer, Dr. Mario, would put him on the path to stardom. The doctor was working on a self-titled puzzle game where you use placebo to murder viruses that look like the henchmen for a Disney villain. Terry Tetris was inspired by the colored blocks falling to clear obstacles to make his own self-titled puzzle game. Many see Tetris as little more than a simple, addictive platformer action JRPG racing real-time strategy porn game that's easy to pick up but difficult to truly master. However, peeling back the curtain a bit, there is a heap of lore and psychological commentary present in this little game. The idea of different shaped pieces being forced to fit together so they can disappear really shows the mental state of Terry Tetris, and really goes to show the anguish and strife that took over his day-to-day life and attitude following his wife's inability to remain faithful to the marriage. Prior to the release of Tetris, Terry had been reading such psychological masterminds as Sigmund Freud and Dr. Seuss, and these masterminds' philosophies seem to have had a strong influence on the undertones of the silly block romp. Shortly after the release of this game, Terry would sadly pass away due to complications from beating the shit out of his liver every day over the course of 6 goddamn years. Terry Tetris is remembered today for his creation, and he is credited in popularizing the Tetris game genre. Tetris would later become the best game of all time, according to Wikipedia. However, there is a rumor that Terry Tetris actually faked his death to increase the popularity of his video game. I wasn't sure if I could believe my sources, so I set up an interview with the titular Tetris top dog. He said in a print interview sent directly to me, "I died following the game's release. Do not inquire further or things will get real bad for you. You have been warned." Following this letter, I am convinced that Terry could in fact still be alive and at large, perhaps planning to start some sort of revolution to win back his game's copyright and start a crusade across all the earth until all cultures have been destroyed and Tetris is all that remains of the human species. In conclusion, Tetris